Hello, it's John Heaton, and this evening I'm going to show you some of my Beatles and single records, most of which are in picture sleeves, some not. If I was to show you everything, it would take up too much time, so I'm just going to show you what I think are the more interesting items, and most of those are from the 60s and 70s, a couple from the early 80s. So we start off with the Beatles. This is the I Saw Her Standing There EP with 4 tracks from the Please Please Me cover from album, and this is notable for the front cover being it's an alternative shot from the Please Please Me cover, but Ringo, I don't know if you'd agree, but he doesn't quite look like Ringo in this shot. It's a bit weird. Twist and Shout EP with Twist and Shout, Taste of Honey, Do You Want to Know a Secret, and There's a Place. Again, just 4 tracks from the LP. And From Me to You with Thank You Girl, the original B-side, together with the earlier single release Please Please Me and Love Me Do. Again, just recycling stuff. They did this quite a bit in the 60s. I don't have the other EPs to show you on picture disc. This is the Mystery Tour original EP as it appeared in the UK, with the booklet in miniature form and the words there. It's worth having. I mean, I think I do prefer the US album release, but this is how it was released in just before Christmas in 1967, so good to have. The Beatles didn't often put out their singles in picture sleeves, but their last single was in a picture sleeve, which, as you see, is very similar to the Let It Be cover, but with the each photo widened a bit. I think they improved on that for the album cover. So that's that. And then we move on to the solo. So I'll show you John first, because I don't have too many of John's. This is Give Peace a Chance on Apple. We've got quite a few just on Apple without a picture sleeve. Quite interesting. I mean, at 1969, not that interesting, but interesting when later in the 70s, early 70s, solo Beatles started putting up stuff on the Apple label. After the split, after the bad feeling surrounding the split has subsided a bit. This is a Mind Games picture sleeve, one of John's best picture sleeves, and that's on the Apple as well, but I don't think I'll show you that. It's Japanese Stand By Me, again on Apple, but with the center missing, which is also always quite annoying when you get the single with the center missing. Always prefer the fuller Apple. And then Stand By Me, here we have the proper full Apple on an Apple sleeve, but no picture sleeve. So that's Lennon. McCartney, Another Day on Apple. Interesting to contrast the colour of the Apple between Paul's Another Day and John's Stand By Me. Interesting, very much greener Apple with Oh Woman, Oh Why on the B-side. Mary Had a Little Lamb picture sleeve, not on Apple. And then various singles on Apple from Paul, as I said. Quite interesting to see him use the Apple label. Relations were improving amongst the 4 Beatles, and well, actually Ram had come out on Apple and so had McCartney, so maybe Paul had always put out stuff on Apple, but George and John hadn't on the green Apple, so it was interesting when they started doing that. Helen Wheels on Apple, Live and Let Die on Apple, Band on the Run on Apple, Junior's Farm on Apple. Walking in the Park with Eloise from the Country Hams, aka Wings, performing the song written by Paul's dad, Seaside Woman. Linda McCartney, backed by Wings, doing her enjoyable reggae track. Listen to What the Man Said, picture sleeve, #1 hit in the US. Mull of Kintyre and Girls' School. This is quite familiar, not rare at all, that one. Sold 2 million copies in the UK alone. I've Had Enough. Second single from London Town. This is the original picture sleeve, and it's got the London Town label. It's backed by Deliver Your Children. That's nice to have. This is the original picture sleeve, if you can call it that, of Old Siam Sir, although it's not really a picture sleeve, but interesting to have the blue sleeve with the pink lettering, and of course the familiar Back to the Egg label there. Getting Closer did appear in a picture sleeve, designed by Hypnosis. I think this was amongst some of the unused ideas which they recycled for this single. I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to signify, but anyway, that's the shot from the Baby's Request video from the B-side. And coming up from Paul, big hit, #1 in the US, #2 in the UK, I think. Waterfalls, nice picture sleeve there. Top 10 hit in the UK. Take It Away from Tug of War. So that's Paul. Moving swiftly on to Ringo. Quite interesting ones, these. This was a single in Europe, Go Coops of Blues. It's on the Apple, but unfortunately it's without the centre. But Coochie Coochie, the B-side, was rare at the time. It's subsequently been released on CD, but it was, for years, it was only released on the back of that single. This is the original picture sleeve for You Don't Come Easy, also on the Apple label. Photograph, #1 hit in the US for Ringo from the Ringo album. And then 2 copies of Oh My My from Ringo. I think this is a US copy. And then a European copy, Step Lightly's on the B-side. And what's interesting about this single is on the back is the latest product advertised from John, Paul and Ringo, who all had albums out shortly before Christmas in 1973. This was one of Ringo's singles from Goodnight Vienna in the picture sleeve. Picked this up in Warminster the other day in the UK. It's not in a picture sleeve, but it's quite... I've never seen it, so I was very happy to have it. Snookeroo, the original UK single, or was it the US? I think it's UK, backed with Ooh-Wee. Very happy to find that. And the Goodnight Vienna single. This is a European French copy, again on the Apple label but without the centre. And then this is rarer than the Snookeroo single. This is one of the latest, I think it's one of the 2 latest singles to be released on the Apple label. Oh My My, released as a single from the Blast From Your Past Ringo compilation, backed with No No Song. I would have liked to have found it in a picture sleeve. I think in some European countries it did come in a picture sleeve. I haven't seen it. The other Apple single which I'm after, the last one, was This Guitar Can't Keep From Crying from George, which is extremely rare. I've seen it for sale on the internet for like £30 or £40. Drowning in the Sea of Love, the first single from Ringo the Fourth and the Polydor label. So that completes my Ringo collection. Well, I have others, but those are the ones I chose to show you today. And then George, superb picture sleeve for My Sweet Lord. I think this is a UK single. And again, on the faithful Apple sleeve. And then nice to see Bangladesh on Apple. So George's All Things Must Pass have come out on the orange Apple, but nice to see the singles, the subsequent singles on the green Apple. Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. This is a picture sleeve from a European country for Give Me Love. I also have seen a Living Material World's album German copy on the green Apple, just so you know. Then this is Darkhorse, the single, with a very uninspired picture sleeve. It's just the words of the song reproduced twice, on both sides. Bit meaningless, that. Unimaginative, should we say. The lead-off single from Extra Texture, with the inner sleeve picture of George smiling, taken from the 74 tour on the Extra Texture label. Nice to have. This song, again, not a good picture sleeve, just a whole lot of blurb about the court case. George defending himself over My Sweet Lord, which was deemed to be too similar to He's So Fine. I mean, it's okay, but nice to have, but not a good picture sleeve. This is much better. The 2 versions of the Blow Away single, I think this is the US picture sleeve and the UK picture sleeve. It was a much bigger hit, top 20 hit in the US, I didn't even make the top 40, number 51 I seem to remember in the UK, unbelievably. So that's those two from George. Then this is pretty rare. The single of Faster on the picture disc, with this inner card with the words to the A side and the picture of George with Jackie Stewart there, and then the picture sleeve itself is, I mean, it's not brilliant, is it, design-wise? It's got all these famous racing drivers, but interesting. I mean, that's probably the rarest single in my collection, actually. Not sure how much it goes for these days, but it's not for sale. And then we got, to round things up, the Teardrop Single, the nice picture sleeve. The single from somewhere in England in 1981. So these singles are really nice to have. And I've got quite a nice little collection there, which I'm quite proud of. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.